Welcome to Enter the Mind podcast. Why enter the mind? Because it's that room in your house that's been there all along that you've never gone into. Well, now it's time to enter with two mind coaches dedicated to self-help and the thriving of all human beings. I'm Robert Nelson, and I'm here with my co-host,
Kyra Carlin.
How's it going today, Kyra?
It's going pretty good. I took an impromptu trip to the Keys yesterday, and I was jet skiing, and I was going really, really, really fast. And I was standing up, but these two waves came out of nowhere. So I fell off the jet ski, and I broke two of my nails. But other than that, I'm feeling pretty good. I took a nap before the podcast. I'm all energized for today's topic. How are you?
That's dope. And two broken nails doesn't sound like too hefty of a price to pay for the experience of standing on a very fast jet ski and hitting two waves. I mean, I guess I'm surprised that not more happens in terms of injury. So I think that was a great success from my perspective. Well, today's Labor Day, so I didn't go into the day job today. I just hung out at the apartment. We're going through a heat wave right here in the Bay Area. So it was I think it might have hit 104 degrees today. But LA is even worse. LA is like 120. It's like insane. But,
No.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's crazy.
They're making records and everything. So actually,
Wow.
that heat is actually a good segue into this week's topic, which is, I know you texted me earlier today that the topic you chose for today is going to be the devil, which is, wow, that's a very, very big topic. Also a very somewhat emotionally charged topic, I would say. And we're going to have a lot of good discussion of that. Just to recap very quickly, last week's episode was on identity. And so we brought everyone's awareness to, I don't want to say the word awareness like 3 times in one sentence. So we brought people's attention to the fact that a lot of things in the world change and are changing, even though you're not aware of them. And one of those things could be identity. And we talked about whether identity is an illusion. So if you didn't listen to that podcast episode yet, go back to I think it was episode number 6, the identity episode. All right, Kyra, why don't you get us started with this week's topic? Tell us what inspired you to discuss this topic today and what questions you want us to talk about.
I would love to, Robert. Okay. So I really am interested in the topic of the devil because I just feel like he's such like a misunderstood energy. Like it's like evil is such a misunderstood energy. And I have so much experience with the devil. And at one point I became obsessed with like finding out what the evil is. What is it? I hear all of these theories about it. I hear all of this information about it, and none of it seems to really help me. Like I don't know, how are you just going to give me like information about the devil, but like no ways to combat that energy? So that's what brings us to today's topic. And the question that honestly I'd like to raise is, I had a question, but it flew out. I'm
going to blame the devil on that one. No, sorry, go ahead.
So am I aware of what the devil actually is? Or am I just sort of going off of what I have pre-learned and never really checked the information for myself? So I feel like that's a really good question to ask yourself, because it's actually a known fact that when you ask your brain a question, it will go on a mad rampage until it finds the answer. Like it will just keep going, searching. And one day, if not immediately, the answer will pop up. So if you ask yourself that question genuinely and without judgment, you will receive an answer back. So yes, what do you have to say about the devil? Do you have any experiences that you could share?
Good questions. I think you're right. We need to start off with defining it, right? Defining our terms. Any discussion needs to begin with clarifying the terminology. It's interesting you referred to the devil as an energy. It makes a lot of sense with your philosophy, and that actually kind of
Mm-hmm.
that makes a lot of sense. I don't. I mean, I think most people, when they hear of the devil, are going to. I guess if we polled 100 people, I would bet you like 80% of them would say the devil is a being that lives in hell, and it kind of would use some sort of Judeo-Christian context. I think that's how most people would see it. Now, to describe the devil as an energy makes sense also. And not only that, to bring in the concept of evil is very important also. So, how does this all relate? Is the devil a being? Is it an energy? Is it just this concept of evil, which is just not a person or a being, but it's just a concept? That is, I heard some noise out there. That is that's going to have to be figured out for us to have a discussion. Now, in terms of this is a big question. Feel free to jump in if anything sparks. But um, if we take the concept of evil, I explain evil through an evolutionary context. Evil. I've been watching a few more movies than I typically watch, and in every movie, it's very clear which person is evil. And the movies, if you think from a perspective of a movie director, they need to figure out from the very beginning how they're going to get the audience to believe that this certain character is evil, is the villain, right? So, for instance, in Harry Potter, which I watched the other day, that one, the beginning is like that little kid. Harry lives under the stairs, and then the other kid that lives in the house is spoiled, and it's his birthday, and he counts the presents, and he's like, "What? Only 37 presents, not 38 or something like that, right?" You know, and he's like, "I deserve more," and you get the sense that this spoiled kid does not understand fairness and equality, right? Now, fairness and equality are the concepts about which we are having all of these mass protests and riots in today's society. It's all over fairness and equality. Then you also have to understand that I can just let off so many bombs here. I'm going to make this last point and then pass it back to you because I could just go for hours and hours on this. Okay, if the listeners and readers, whatever, viewers, readers, we don't Enter the Mind book is not out yet, but it's coming soon to a bookstore near you. If our viewers do not know the name Frans de Waal, they need to go look it up. Frans de Waal, Frans space DE space WAAL. He's a primatologist, probably the best primatologist on planet Earth right now, which means he studies primates, meaning monkeys, but humans are also, very closely related, if not in that category. So now he has a famous YouTube, like TEDx talk or something, where he shows the results of this experiment, which had two capuchin monkeys, one in each cage right next to each other. He hands one of them grapes and he hands the other one cucumbers. Now, grapes are way more delicious, and so their value is like way higher. So what happened was the monkey that got the cucumbers got very angry because he thought he was equal to the other monkey, right? They even were both given tokens, these little rocks, right? To then exchange with the experimenter. So the monkeys handed the rock to the experimenter, and in exchange for that rock or token, they were given their food. But again, one monkey was given grapes, the other was given cucumber. What happened? The one that was given cucumber was outraged because it's not fair. They were the same rocks. They were both given the same tokens, the same, almost like money, right? And one of them was being shortchanged. That created outrage. Now, why am I talking about monkeys in cages with cucumbers? Because that's exactly what happened in the opening scene of Harry Potter. And so people need to realize that human beings are not very far from primates, meaning monkeys and apes. So this whole thing of evil and morality, is inequality evil? Yes. Is hurting innocent people evil? Yes. But the question of why those are evil is answered by evolutionary psychology and evolutionary biology. And I know that's like huge, like just to open up the can of evolutionary psychology opens up a huge can, but to try to, but that has to be done. If we're going to answer questions about the devil and about evil, evil comes from anti-survival. So that means going against the group and trying to take more than your fair share. And it means lying and stabbing people in the back and not honoring your commitments and being greedy. All of these things, which those were all problems that came up during the course of human evolution. And human morality evolved as a solution to those problems. So with that, I gotta pass it back to you. You can take this in any direction you want.
I have a few directions I'd like to take it in. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so it's really interesting because I personally see the devil as unawareness. So when you said that the little boy in Harry Potter, he didn't have like a sense of equality, and he didn't have a sense of gratitude, and which means that the devil is just somebody who's sleeping. The devil is somebody who is unaware. The devil reaches into you and gives you a narrow mind that where you really aren't free, because you've put yourself in this box. And then the devil kind of tells you, and he's like, don't worry, like, it's safe here. It's okay. Look, I've been taking care of you for this long. Why are you going to leave me now? And he's real comforting. So that's why, the comfort zone is where you will never find anything of real worth, because it's the devil. He's lying to you. There's nothing sustainable for you there. And I feel like we have just become so asleep and unaware. And that's why it's really good to take a look at your life. It's like, I'm trying to think of a good example, like to be aware, to bring attention to. So if you're not bringing your attention to gratitude, you're giving it to something else. You're paying attention. Okay. You are taking money out of your pocket and you are paying attention to either something good or something bad. And when you're paying attention to all the bad things, and the devil he's got you like in his grips and everything, it's just an unawareness. There is just something that you need to find the answer to in order that you move forward. And if you are not moving forward, you are always staying stagnant. So like, remember that, like, whenever you are not moving forward, you are stagnant. And it's the devil telling you these little dirty secrets in your ear, putting his big I'm gonna make a vulgar reference, but putting his big fucking sweaty devil balls all over your neck. All over your neck, and you're like, yeah, this is fucking great, love this, but like, that's that aspect of it. And I like that you brought to attention, like, truthfully, like, what the devil is. It's straight up greed. Like, it's intentional greed. It's intentionally hurting somebody. It's intentionally like, as God is your witness, it is intentionally doing something wrong, right? So it's like and when you're doing something wrong, there is an unawareness. You've fallen deep into a like just like an evil coma, because if I am intentionally trying to hurt you, like I wake up and like I intentionally want to go and hurt somebody's feelings today, like that's in my mind, like that's what I want to do, like dude, that's fucking crazy. But to intentionally go up and want to hurt somebody, there's something that I don't know here. There's something that hasn't clicked for me here. Or there's something that I do know, but I've shoved it away. I've pushed it out because I don't want to see it, because that would mean that I would have to change, get out of my comfort zone, and leave the motherfucking devil, and I don't want to, sort of thing. So I think it comes up first with it's a lack of knowledge, the devil, a lack. It's just a lack of knowledge, because if you want to do self-help, right? And you think like, oh, I won't get anything of real like sustenance out of this, right? So you kind of stay where you are because you're not motivated enough, which means that there's just something that you don't know. There's just something that you cannot see that hasn't been brought to your awareness yet, because you're blocking it with all of this shit that the devil is rubbing in your face. He just takes a shit, he fucking puts it all in your face, and he's like, here, take this, like, take fucking this, right? So that is what I have to say in a ping pong back to you.
Well, I'm glad that when I upload this, I always click the button that says not for kids, because let's just make it clear that Kyra has officially called out the devil on being a teabagger. And if that doesn't make your day, I don't know what does. All right, back to business. Let's see. A lot of points there. I was going to make a joke. I feel something moist on my neck right now. But I don't see anything. Do you see anything there?
I don't see anything there, no.
Okay. So you said, there's a few things. I wrote down 4 words that you said about the devil: sleeping, unaware, stagnant or stagnation, and comfort zone. And this is fascinating to me because we did not discuss this before the show. The only communication between you and I was a text message that said, today's topic, I'd like to talk about the devil. I said, okay, great. Then I started, my mind was starting, and I thought, well, what, and now that I know that's going to be the topic today, what do I think is the devil? And my first thought was laziness. My first thought was the devil is laziness.
Love that.
And how coincidental it is, that you used the words unaware, stagnation, sleeping, and I'm using the word laziness, which I would group all in the same category. So stagnation. I feel even the last couple of days, for some reason, I feel like I've stagnated, or I've not been achieving or pursuing my higher self. And who knows why that is? Maybe because I'm trying to be more worldly and aware of world things. So I've been reading the news more, and I remember going up to this weekend, there was some article about Labor Day weekend's gonna be a heat wave, stay indoors. Labor Day weekend, stay indoors. Coronavirus spreads every time there's a holiday weekend because people do their gatherings. And as we all know, the news is just a festering pot of fear and sensationalism. I mean, that's not news for anybody. I mean, no, everybody's aware of that. But I think that maybe that affected me. You know what I mean? To go back to our conveyor belt model of the mind, I feel like that was, those couple of headlines that I read got placed on the conveyor belt. They got conveyor belted through my mind, into my mind, and processed. I thought I had forgotten about them, but I think that maybe they did affect me, and maybe they caused me to be a little more cautious this weekend, a little bit more, you know, more subdued or something. And this is how I think about it, right? This is self-awareness, in my opinion. This is like watching my own mind, kind of guarding it, and seeing, like a bouncer or a security guard would want to make sure that no lowlifes get into the club. Well, I think that we need to watch the borders of our own mind and make sure that no low vibration energy gets into the club.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
what is stagnation? What is unawareness? What is sleeping? What is comfort zone? Those are all low vibration energies. Now, you
Mm-hmm.
started off this podcast by saying the devil is an energy. And so now here we are talking about the devil being these low vibrational energies of laziness, unawareness, fear, etc. So at least in my mind, things are starting to tie together already. And I think that what is the next question would be, what's the solution to that, right? If the devil is stagnation, which is an energy, then how do you defeat the devil? I mean, the answer should be should follow from that very clearly, wouldn't you say?
Yes, and I also think the devil is um, like ill habits, right? So like it's an ill habit. It's the inability to continue on with something because your life is not worth it. It's just not worth it because you're unaware of what can actually happen because you're in your comfort zone. So saying this with linking it with what you just said, um, what was the last thing that you just said?
That
Ah, ah,
Go ahead.
the energy and how it's an energy. So I think that the way to defeat the devil is to create something in your life. Create something, because if you're not working for anything, you are wasting your life away. If you aren't good with your boundaries, you are wasting your life away. And I love this aspect as well because, some people say, oh, if you're a famous fucking celebrity, you have sold your soul to the devil. Maybe some, okay, but like, no, that is not it at all. And you need to get that stupid, limiting, bad thought out of your head right now. Like, I'm gonna be real as shit right now. You need to get that out of your head, anyone who's listening. But to me, selling your soul to the devil is not having anything to live for, hurting your soul. You have given your soul to the devil when you are with a man only for his money, but he beats you, right? You've sold your soul to the devil because you're giving away your life. You're giving away your worth. You're giving away your ideal life because I know that being with a rich man who beats you ain't your ideal life, okay? So you have given the devil your dreams in order to stay in this relationship that you are. And that's, I truthfully believe, selling your soul to the devil. Not speaking your truth, keeping your mouth closed when you have something to say is selling your soul to the devil. Every time you don't say what you are, yearning to say, you are giving the devil what you actually want to say, and he is returning you with silence. And it gets all jumbled up, and he's telling you, it's okay, I'm here for you, but it's all false, right? So how do we delete the devil as much as we possibly can? I mean, the law of polarity, we can't have good without bad, so the devil will always be here, and sometimes he will creep in, but he's there to remind us of the light that is actually here. And so in order to sort of delete the devil as much as you can in your life, you're gonna wanna work for something. And I just thought about it for exactly like 12 months of my life, like maybe even a little bit over, but like it was extremely intense for 12 months. I was reprogramming my mind and it sucked. Like I was I was doing an Arbonne cleanse at the time, so I couldn't have soy or gluten or like vinegar. There's so many not eat. I couldn't have peanuts. Like there were just so many not to eat things on the list. And I did that for 2 months straight because I gained weight and I wanted to just lose it all. So as I was doing that for 2 months straight, you know, I wasn't drinking because you can't drink either. I was locking myself in my room watching Tony Robbins videos all day, Esther Hicks videos all day, reading book after book. I would read an audiobook and an actual book at the same time. I would go to bed at like 7 p.m., wake up at 4 a.m. and run every single morning. And I did this for like 12 fucking months straight. Like it was intense, but I did it no matter how sort of grueling that was. I did it because I was working for something, because I am worth something. I am not going to stay in my comfort zone and give up my dreams so the devil can fucking chomp them up, spit them out on his dirty ass floor, so that way I can live the life that he hands in return to me for giving him my dreams. Absolutely not, you know? So how to escape the devil is working for something. I was working for a better body. I was working for a healthier mind. I was working for my dreams. The life that I want is worth it, and I am worth it to receive it. So with that being said, I truthfully think that the way to escape the devil is to become aware and work for something. You know, stop pansy assing around the house, do the work. It's really uncomfortable. You're going to cry like a million times, but do the work because you are worth that, you know?
Wow. Raise the roof. Wow, this is great. There's so many things that I wrote down that I want to comment on. So first of all, thank you for that. That was amazing.
For sure.
Second, I think that I'm seeing a lot of elements tie together from today's discussion. So if we think of the devil as stagnation, lack of awareness, another thing you mentioned was ill habits, then I said the question is, how do we defeat that? What's the opposite? And your answer was to create. And what I would point out is that the opposite of devil is God in many books, and God is also associated with creation. So I see some things fitting together there. Now, if it's godly to create, and if it's godly to really see your true worth and pursue that, and pursue your higher self, your full self-actualization, your full potential, and to not be seduced into some mediocrity of a toxic marriage, toxic relationship, abusive relationship, and add to that any false insinuations that you have low worth as a human being. I mean, if we think back to Harry Potter and the opening scene that I described, how did that family treat Harry? They tried to make him believe that he didn't have worth as a person, that he was lesser. And that's kind of the basis, I think, for slavery, is that an individual has less worth and therefore should be controlled by someone else, which I would hope everyone recognizes as evil, right? I think most people would say slavery is evil. And it's not complicated. All you have to do is watch any major movie and you'll see that the villain, the one that's made to be evil, does the same thing in every single movie, whether it's action movie, superhero movie, whatever. The villain always takes advantage of people, exploits people, lies, is greedy, right? sometimes in these gangster movies, they torture people, torture innocent people, kill innocent people. They harm the families of other people that they're going after. It's the same thing. I mean, this is the story of human beings on planet Earth. Now, let's not focus though on so much on the negativity, which is the devilish stuff, right? Um, but I think this is beautiful, maybe a metaphor, if you will, of um, or a message of self-help in the sense that we have devil and we have God here, right? We have stagnation and growth. We have fear. We have courage. We have underselling yourself, and we have fulfilling your potential, pursuing your potential, even if it's a little uncomfortable, right? We have pleasing, becoming smaller in order to please others. And we have becoming greater because you know that that's who you are and that's your destiny and that's your truth. Now, that
Mhm.
last word I said is very important. That's your truth,
Mhm.
right? Because the opposite of falsehood and illusion is truth. Where did we see? Oh, sleeping, right? So sleeping and awake. Sleeping and awake, that dichotomy implies illusion and truth or reality, right? Now, for me, if you ask me, Robert Nelson, owner of Existence First, I say that my God is reality. That's another thing that I thought of when you told me that today's topic would be the devil, is I thought, oh, the devil, that's lies. The devil is falsehood.
Agreed.
Because in the end, what is God? God is all powerful. God is all knowing. God is like the be all end all, right? And that's what truth is, because you can spend all day, all your energy, insisting insisting on one thing or whatever, uh, and then at the end of the day, though, you either get the results or you don't, right? So you could sit on the couch wanting to be in shape, wanting to do this or that. But if you don't actually do it, you don't get the results, then you look on that scale. That scale is God in a way, because it's like, it's going to tell you the truth. It's going to be like, it's going to be like, hey, this is the actual measurement. It is what it is. Um, Last thing I want to say is what you were saying about your like that 12-month period where you did the intensive cleanse and the Tony Robbins stuff. When you described that, I felt it felt good. It felt like it felt right, and not in the sense of comfortable. It felt very uncomfortable. I was like, oh geez, you can't eat all that stuff, and you're waking up early in the morning and you're running and this and that. It felt very uncomfortable, but it felt very driven, it felt very aligned, and it felt very purposeful.
Mhm.
And I think that purpose is that's another key word there. Purpose is a very charged word, I think. Um, there's even books on there's a famous book by because I was given one by a family member. It's called A Purpose Driven Life, and it's by that Christian guy, preacher. I forgot his name. Um, but a purpose driven life. So God, on this side again, we have God, purpose, right? So everything, truth, all of that is going together, right? I mean, if we're going to encapsulate all of this, maybe we'll say light and darkness, Um, but I really liked that period of focus, intense focus, and even though it's uncomfortable, it felt right. It felt like the right thing for you as an individual to grow. And yeah, this is all combining into a wonderful, beautiful philosophy here of self-actualization, I think, for all people. What do you think?
I gotta start writing down the points that what I think is I gotta start writing down the points that you say. when you talk, because sometimes I forget them, because then another thing comes up that I like, and then I forget that one.
Right. Just boom, boom,
Let me
boom.
think for one moment.
Sure.
That's what it was. I love that you say to you, God is reality, because we can get so caught up in our minds, and I think it ties really nice together with what I said about the devil being unawareness, right? The devil being illusory, like an illusory sense of vision. So if God is reality and the devil would be an illusion, then reality, if you are not in reality, then you would be somewhere else. You'd be like with the devil. And I feel like, to bring an image to it, he's pretty much covering your eyes and allowing you to see through his vision. And then when he removes his eyes and you sort of see reality, like legit, like natural law, like everything, like straight up reality, like the good and the bad, you sort of get scared of that, and you go back, you're like, wait, cover my eyes again, sort of thing, which all ties back to the comfort zone and being uncomfortable. If you want to defeat the devil, you know, come to terms with reality. Come to terms with reality. Come to terms with what you've done in the past. Come to terms with the fact that, yeah, sometimes you do replay old scenarios in your head. Come to terms with the fact that you aren't with your boyfriend anymore of 5 years, you know? Come to terms with the fact that one of your parents did die. Come to terms with the fact that I have been playing a victim. Come to terms, be honest. Like, the devil is truth. I mean, the God is truth. God is awareness. God is honesty. God is reality. And I think it's God, this is seriously such a good fucking topic. Like, I love this topic, because in order for somebody to truthfully, like, listen to these voices, this podcast right now, the words that are being said, the thoughts that are being presented, gives such a light to the devil than what I knew growing up, and God as well. Like, to sit down and actually dive into that, to become aware is to move forward, to become aware is to enter reality, and, you know, then you're not stagnant anymore. And so I love that you say that, you know, God is reality. I love that so much.
Yeah, and I would add to that is that God being truth and being reality, is part of that is the truth that you as an individual have worth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so anytime that you buy into some sort of philosophy that says you are worthless, that is partaking in darkness, lies, falsehood, the devil, etc. Um, it's partaking in non-reality. And so a
Mm-hmm.
self-limiting belief is a delusion. It's a falsehood. It's an illusion. It is not truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And I love that you just said that, um, what did you just say? What was the very first thing that you just said?
That God in reality is, and truth is the truth that you have worth.
Yes. So we humans, we're so goddamn judgmental on ourselves. Like, we're so judgmental on ourselves that when you come into that thought, you get that download and you're like, whoa, I am worth it. You know, like, And so the immediate follow from the thought, like the realization, like, oh, like I am worth it, immediately follows all of your failures. You think of how wrong you've been living your life until you got this information, and you come down so hard on yourself after that. You're like, well, what the fuck? Like, what was I doing? Why didn't I know this? Like, and it's fucked up when that happens. And you're kind of like, fuck, like for 23 fucking years, that's what I was doing? Are you kidding me? And so we sort of stay in that little thing because we're angry. Like we're kind of pissed at how we've been living our lives. So sometimes you can get like a little bit like depressed. Like you can get like a little bit, I don't know, stuck in this stagnation. That's sort of like, okay, well now you're aware, but like, this is a very big task. What am I going to do? And you sort of become overwhelmed. You maybe start getting anxiety because all of this new information is pouring in. And I think it's really important to pray for judgment release on yourself and judgment release on other people, because if you are judging yourself for every question that you ask yourself, you are going to become defensive, because judgment is an energy, and it is not helpful. Judgment is not a helpful energy, because it's going to hinder you from finding any real answers. And you have to remember that you are doing the best that you can do with the information that you currently have. And you know that. And if you know that, if you're a good person, you know, like I am doing the best that I possibly can right now with the information that I have. So the moment that I learned new information, I wasn't wrong before. I just didn't have the information. So now that I have the information, I can move forward. And that's really what I love, you know, with like stagnation and not having the proper information. You know, it's very, very halting. So.
Yeah, totally. Well, we covered a lot.
We did.
And we did. You went way over 30 minutes, but that's totally okay because we were on a roll from what I saw. And so, yeah, this is huge. I mean, in terms of final words for such a monstrous, gigantic episode as this one, I think that one word I would add to that the whole side of the devil is the word insecurities, because as you were just speaking, that's the word that came to mind, is when people don't really see their worth, or they see a flaw in themselves, they judge themselves, and they see that flaw as actually 100 times greater than it really is. That not only is a departure from reality, but it is a departure from reality that severely harms them and keeps them from really pursuing themselves, their true potential. Because I can tell you this, if people really, really honestly saw their potential for what it really is and believed it, they would be behaving and acting very differently than they are currently behaving.
I love that. I'm not even going to add to it, because I just feel like we could just still go so much. But thanks for listening, everyone. Make sure you tune in on Mondays, because by the end of the Monday night, the episode is usually up, right? You post it like right after, nearly? Yeah.
Same.
So, okay, cool. So it's around like 10 p.m. Eastern that it's up every Monday night. And then, yeah, thank you so much for listening. And hopefully you have a better understanding of what the devil is, and you can better tackle that motherfucker and tell him to stop putting his balls on your neck, you know? So for sure.
All right. Amen to that. All right. Thanks, everybody.